Viewers, in 2016, the Modi government guaranteed that it would not let non-Muslims who have sheltered in India because they were being persecuted by Islamist hate in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh live a life of indignity. That these non-Muslims who entered India before December 31st, 2014 would be granted citizenship on a priority basis. But the proposed lifeline in the shape of a Citizenship Amendment Bill was beaten back by so-called secular liberals in Parliament. In 2019, when the NDA returned with a larger mandate, with a bigger mandate, it seized the moment and passed the CAA bill. With its passage in Parliament, the CAA was all ready to be implemented. But this time, violent protests broke out in numerous parts of the country, viewers. In fact, Delhi not only bore the brunt of the violence, but an agitation by Muslim residents of Shaheen Bagh, where a major thoroughfare was out of bounds for over an entire year, also created a huge problem of perception for the government, viewers. The force of the outrage meant that once again the government took a step back, and the rules to operationalize the CAA were not notified. Now, this was highly uncharacteristic of the BJP, which prides itself in speedily actualizing its commitment to voters. But today, viewers, finally, in a supremely consequential move, at long last, Union Home Minister Amit Shah has enforced the law by notifying its rules of application. This really, viewers, is the big breaking story of the day. The Ministry of Home Affairs will be notifying today the rules under the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, also known as the CAA 2019. The Home Affairs Ministry says these rules, called the Citizenship Amendment Rules 2024, will enable the persons eligible under CAA 2019 to apply for grant of Indian citizenship. The applications will be submitted in a completely online mode, for which a web portal has been provided. So anyone, viewers, before 31st of December 2014 who has taken shelter in this country, who is a non-Muslim, i.e. is a Hindu, a Sikh, a Parsi, a Christian, a Jain, all of these denominations, viewers, can now apply online on the portal, applying for citizenship to India. Obviously, there will be certain requirements, certain documentation to prove that you bona fide fled persecution in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and of course, Bangladesh. Viewers, a few years ago, if you remember, Union Home Minister Amit Shah had made it entirely clear that he was very, very keen on ensuring that those who are deserving, who have been persecuted, the non-Muslims specifically who have been persecuted, will be given a life of dignity in this country. This is what he said, viewers.
दिल्ली के अंदर ये अवैध घुसपैठिए है, इससे परेशानी है या नहीं है बताओ? जरा जोर से बोलो, पीछे तक परेशानी है या नहीं है? एक घुसपैठियों को निकालना चाहिए या नहीं निकालना चाहिए? देश में करोड़ों की संख्या में घुसपैठिए घुसे हुए हैं, दिमक की तरह चाट गए हैं देश के भविष्य को। उनको उखाड़ फेंकना चाहिए या नहीं उखाड़ फेंकना चाहिए?
The exclusion of Muslims from within the ambit of the CAA has caused rights activists and opposition parties to accuse the Modi government of being anti-Muslim, viewers. The constant references to India turning into, and I quote, a Hindu Pakistan, unquote, stem from these so-called activists linking the CAA to majoritarian exclusivism They say that a Hindu nationalist government, they are saying it because I'm not, a Hindu nationalist government, drunk on power, wants to discriminate against Muslims, and all through the evening you must have been hearing those sound bites coming out of various political parties. A number of myths have been spun around the CAA to mislead the public, particularly the youth. Viewers, let me take you through a hard facts fact check. Now, I always bring to you the hard facts, viewers, so you can get closer to the truth, so you are empowered, so you can make more informed choices. The first foremost objection against the CAA, viewers, is that it discriminates against Indian Muslims. But what is the fact? The fact is that the CAA does not affect Indian citizens at all, including Muslim citizens. Another objection, the CAA bars Muslim refugees from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. The fact is, viewers, that the citizenship to nearly 2,800 Pakistanis, 912 Afghans and 172 Bangladeshis has been given in the last 6 years. In fact, after 2014, Bangladesh boundary settlement, 14,864 Bangladeshi citizens, including Muslims, have been given citizenship when enclaves were absorbed. Viewer, another objection. The CAA will bar Sri Lankan Tamils, Baluchis and Ahmadiyas from getting citizenship. The fact is, viewers, very different. In fact, they can apply to become Indian citizenships as per 1955 Citizenship Act. So they can come through the due process. Just take them a little longer, but then, viewers, that's the way it is going to crumble the cookie. Another objection, the discrimination against Muslim immigrants. The fact is that the bill does not target faith. Lankan Tamils and Hindu Rohingyas, not under the CAA, are also, viewers, barred. So they might be here in India, but they are barred from getting citizenship on a fast-track basis. They can apply for citizenship after 12 years of residency under the 1955 Citizenship Act. And if they have all their documents, etc., there's no reason why they should not be denied citizenship, Muslims included. Another objection, illegal Muslim immigrants will be deported. The fact is that the CAA has nothing to do with deportation of foreigners. Another objection, CAA and National Register of Citizens are linked. The fact is, viewers, the NRC, the legal provisions of NRC, a part of the 1955 Citizenship Act since December 2004. It's already been there. In fact, one of the surveys in Assam has already been conducted on Supreme Court orders under the NRC. Viewers, the time has come to ensure that this issue is not hijacked by those who have become apologists or are out to, for political reasons, politically expedient reasons, appease a certain section of our society. Why should these individuals have a problem with a law that offers a life of dignity to non-Muslims who are fleeing Islamist persecution? Do they deny that there is Islamist persecution in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh? Let's ask these questions, viewers. Let's open this up. Let's go straight across to our panel. It's a highly informed panel. I want to first begin with Mr. Abbas and Mr. Monojit Mondol. Mr. Mondol, to you first. You're a professor, a learned man. What really is the problem with such a compassionate piece of legislation? What is the problem with it? Why raise the specter of Muslim alienation, etc., etc.? In your own state, the Matuas are celebrating. I have visuals of them celebrating. Should you not care for your own citizens in Bengal, Bengalis?
First of all, if there were no problems, why did this government take over 4 years to implement the law? The government with such brute majority. So the fact remains that the government took such a long period of time they also recognized that there were problems. Coming back to the Matuas in Bengal, none of them are there to be applying for this law because they are already citizens of this country. The Bengal government has already ensured that they are citizens of this country. Coming back to the other problems that you are in fact putting, if I go by the long preface that you had in the beginning, with the same logic, even these other communities can also apply for citizenship if they live here for 12 years. So then why do you exclude only a particular community? That is the Muslim community. Point number two, why did you exclude other neighbors of ours, like you mentioned Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan? You have persecuted people in Sri Lanka, Nepal also. Why did you exclude them? Because there is a political purpose behind this law. And point number two, if there were no problems, why the most affected state was Assam, where you were ruling? Why so many people are still in the detention camp of Assam? And majority of them are actually Hindus. If this is not linked to NRC, and you were talking about, rightly so, NRC is now implemented in Assam. But who guarantees that if these people can come to power again after the election, they will implement the NRC everywhere in the country. And that will affect not just a particular community, but all of us. People without a document, flood affected, storm affected, cyclone affected, they will all be overnight called
Now,
the
let's
green
open this
voter
up. We've
or
heard
doubtful voter.
We've heard Professor Mondal. He's given an expansive reason as to why he opposes it, but also contradicts himself. He says that, even Hindus are languishing. If Hindus are languishing, then
Yes,
obviously the CAA is not anti-Muslim. In fact, it's anti-no one, except it's only pro-humanity. I mean, you contradicted yourself. Anyhow, it doesn't matter.
I did not say it's
this is the problem.
It is anti-humanity.
I want to ask you, Professor Monojit Mondo, simple question.
Yes.
Forget
Yes,
about
sir.
Hindu-Muslim. Just a very simple yes or no answer. Do you believe that Bangladeshi Hindus who have crossed the border and continue to cross the border are not victims of Islamist persecution, and should they not get citizenship on a priority? Simple question, sir.
No, who is saying that they should not get?
Okay.
Of course
That's
they
it.
should get.
So viewers,
of course.
if
But
they
you
are
cannot-
getting it
you
under
cannot-
CAA,
demarcate them on the basis of religion, and you cannot exclude other countries also. Many people are crossing the border from Sri Lanka and Nepal.
yes, yes.
Why are they excluding them?
Yes,
Let
let me get in Dr. Ranganathan perhaps to logically break this down and explain it to you. He's written extensively on this issue. Dr. Ranganathan, you see, the complaint always comes back. Bring them all from Pakistan, Bangladesh. What's the big deal? Then why have Pakistan and Bangladesh? What is this separate homeland for Muslims? They may as well all come here.
To my fellow panelists, it's a historic day. In no small measure, my congratulations to Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Narendra Modi and everyone in the government. And my congratulations to every Hindu in India and every Hindu persecuted or otherwise in the Islamic republics that are concerned with the CAA. It's a great day. Again, I mean, it's really incredible. And the fact of the matter is, if you remember, Rahul, let me quote someone now. We will either have a divided India or a destroyed India. Who said this? Jinnah. He screamed this, and he managed the former. And let me say this in no uncertain terms. Those who oppose the CAA are intent upon managing the latter. The CAA is morally just because, let me give you a few reasons. Number one, these border countries are Islamic republics, and therefore Muslims are not in the minority. CAA is about India granting citizenship to those who are persecuted because they are not followers of the majority religion of Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Number two, it is a fact, is it not, that India was divided on the basis of religion. Muslims could choose a home and 75 million did. Good luck to them. They chose Pakistan, a nation created for Muslims. But India wasn't created for Hindus. Post-partition in 1951, Muslim population share in India was 9%. Today it is 16%. Some say it might even be 20%. And what of the Hindus in West Pakistan? They were 16% in 1948. Then 1.6% in 1951, and today they are just 1.5%. And Hindus in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, They were 23% in 1951, 15% in 1974, and today they are a measly 8%. So in India, minority population share has grown, while minority population share in Pakistan and Bangladesh has decreased, dwindled, with millions persecuted, converted, killed. Where would the Indic people and Christians go? Number three, my only limited disagreement with the bill is, or the act, is that atheists, apostates, and heretics, all condemned in Islam and therefore in the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, should also have been included. It doesn't make sense to include all persecuted Muslims and Muslim majority nations. Should we now open our doors to 200 million Shia Muslims persecuted by Sunni Muslims all around the world? It doesn't make sense. Number four, CAA is about granting citizenship, not asylum, as India already grants asylum to lakhs of Muslims, including the Rohingyas and the Afghans. Number five, those calling this bill Islamophobic ignore the simple fact that 500,000 or more ethno-religiously cleansed Sri Lankan Tamil Hindus currently settled in India are also excluded. Number six, those outraging were completely silent for 70 years when lakhs of Hindu refugees from what was then West Pakistan ran for their lives and settled in Kashmir but were denied jobs, dignity, basic human rights because of Article 370. But that was of no concern because they were Hindus. Number seven, the CPIM and the Congress in 2012, Rahul, and 2015 demanded citizenship be granted to Bangladeshi minorities, i.e. specifically non-Muslims. But because BJP granted it, they are up in arms. Finally, another crucial point that most people don't realize is that the CAA is an amnesty that commenced on December 31st, 2019 after the 5-year cooling off clause. Only after this amnesty would come the nationwide NPR and then finally the NRC. This means that the purpose of CAA amnesty would be fulfilled long before the nationwide NRC commences. Because the CAA amnesty became operational on December 31st, 2019, one would expect that all eligible non-Muslim refugees would have already applied for the amnesty still. Just 30 seconds. As I had suggested 2 years ago, a Muslim Indian without documents cannot. But a non-Muslim Indian without documents can still commit perjury and ask for CA amnesty, as the latter is applicable till perpetuity. Therefore, in order for both non-Muslim and Muslim Indians to be in the same boat during the NRC, the amnesty part of the CAA should either be repealed or a deadline set for it before the commencement of a nationwide NRC. No one should then have any issue with the NRC. And finally, a word of unsolicited advice to this government. Please don't succumb to anarchists and Islamists again. Your knee must be bruised. You've taken it so often.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the dadis are already assembling. We don't know. We hope not. Let's hope that over the last 4 years, better senses prevail. People have learned a little bit more, read up a little bit more, and not read up the kind of literature that was being circulated by a certain stripe of Indian analysts. Now, let me bring in.
Can I take 5 seconds?
Yeah, please.
Abbas, if you don't mind, because I really admire Abbas. I want to ask a very simple question because I think he might be opposed to CA. Abbas, very simple question. Can you tell me what Khamong Sheikh is, Abbas?
Well, I know Ustad Rafiullah, Mashakullah, Nigrani Sheikh. Yamo Sheikh, aap bata dijiye.
Yes, Khamong Sheikh is a region in Myanmar where Hindus, hundreds of Hindus were mercilessly, brutally raped, killed, persecuted, pillaged and buried, some alive. And those who did it, many of those Rohingyas might have actually fled back to our country. We are giving refuge to Rohingyas who might have killed Hindus, but we are worried about not giving citizenship or refuge to Hindus.
Well,
did you say might, Dr. Saab? Did you say might?
Okay, just 1 second, please. Everyone can't speak over each other. 1 second, Professor Mondol. Professor Mondol, that is the point that he is making. You are actually making. Yes, sir, I understand. Can you allow me to speak? Professor Sahab, you are actually shooting your own self in the foot. That is exactly what we are saying. That even Hindus from Myanmar, as I have pointed out, Hindus from the great country of Sri Lanka who have been persecuted have been denied this fast track. Because this government doesn't discriminate between Hindus and Muslims, it hasn't actually made a special classification for even Hindus. So you are actually shooting yourself in the foot. You are only strengthening the points that I have made. But I appreciate the fact that you agree with me. It is not very often that you do. So
chosen
I
these
respect you
countries
for the
because
intelligence
they
that you are
are
showing on this show.
ruled by
Now,
the government
no, it's
dominated
okay.
by the Muslims.
Now, sir, I want
That's
to
the
bring in
simple
Mr.
reason.
Abbas. You have monopolized now, please. I want to bring in Mr. Abbas.
Ali.
He's also a very bright man. He's a young man. He's an articulate spokesperson of his community, and he has a problem against the CA. But Mr. Abbas, I want to ask you a very simple question. You're a student of history. You have been very well informed about it. You have often come and quoted it here. I want to ask you, why was the state of Pakistan, Bangladesh demanded by Muslim leaguers and its supporters?
Well, firstly, dear Rahul Sahab, I'm not a student of history and I'm not aware of the question that you asked me.
Why was the state of Pakistan and Bangladesh demanded by Muslim League and its supporters?
Please enlighten me on the same. I'm not aware of this.
Okay. Now, viewers, an intelligent young man, Mr. Abbas, who's very woke, very well informed, has deliberately decided to skip.
No, I'm not skipping.
You know why, viewers? I'll
I
tell you
don't
why.
skip.
I'll tell you why. The moment you say, well, the Muslim League demanded a separate state of Pakistan because they did not think that Muslims in India would get a fair deal and wanted an
Absolutely.
exclusive.
Rahul Sahab,
Exactly, right?
If I can add on to that.
एक second, Abbas साहब, अब छोड़ दीजिए. ना अब ट्यूबलाइट नहीं है.
नहीं, मैं जवाब देना
We don't have a
चाहूंगा.
tube light. We
सवाल
don't have.
पूछा है,
Now it's
जवाब
done.
दूंगा.
Now it's done. You feigned ignorance. Now I'm filling in
Not
the
at
blanks.
all.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm
Not
just
at
filling.
all, not
Let
at
me
all.
finish, please, Mr. Abbas. please.
Rahul, allow me to.
No, just one second. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. I'll come back.
Sure.
Now, viewers, you see, the problem is, I'll tell you what the problem is. They say give Muslims who are also suffering in Pakistan and Bangladesh the same rights under the CAA. Why did they go there in the first place? So that they would be protected by their own. So they can all live in this lovely preserve, this island of exclusion. Pak, the pure land. You see, viewers, now they ended up fighting with each other. You see what has happened to Pakistan. They're selling donkeys to get by. Now, viewers, they want to come back. And they want to use the CAA. So if that is the case, if they feel that there was a failed experiment, then demolish your LOC, pull down the fences, say, okay, we've given up. We were much better off in secular Hindu India or Hindu civilizational India. Much better off. Let us come back. We'll agree. I don't know if we will, but we certainly will look at the case. I'm sure the government might. Anyhow, that's the real reason why, viewers, these people will not want to answer this question, because if you start allowing everybody who left to come back, then why have Pakistan? Why have a Bangladesh? The raison d'etre ceases to exist. That's why Mr. Abbas pretends that he doesn't know the answer to this question. It's okay.
now,
It's
Rahul,
okay.
can I
It's
have my
okay, Abbas
time
bhai. Now let me
Can I
ask
have
you
my
a second
time?
question. Now let me ask you a second question. I'm a
please.
very sympathetic person. I'm not
You don't
going
have
to
to be.
I'm not going to grill you on one question like some people do, and then I'll ask you another
You can
question.
grill as much as
I'll
you
ask
want.
you another question. sir.
I have my
I'll ask you another question. Are
Yes,
you
please.
opposed?
It's
Are
only
you opposed?
questioning. He's not allowed to answer a single question.
Sir, he didn't. I know the answer. He told me. You heard it yourself, Professor. You teach students. When they can't answer a question, you make them stand on the bench. Am I asking him to stand on the bench? Am I asking him to leave the class?
Why
I
do
am
you
not.
ask questions
Okay.
and
So
answer
let me ask.
answer, Rahul.
Let me ask
You
another
answer it
question.
yourself. You
Sir.
don't give us any time to answer a single
Sir,
question.
I gave you 5 minutes
What
on
are
the
you
show.
talking about?
I promise you, I gave you 5
please,
minutes. You can
please.
look at the watch. Now, hang on. Mr. Abbas, why do you believe that the CA discriminates
He was
against...
only a prospective member of parliament in my friend Anand, Dr.
Okay.
Anand,
Okay.
he was speaking.
Sir.
He was delivering a speech as it was a parliament of India.
Okay.
Oh,
Dada, you are
and
the
we are
one
going to
who's
get the
not been
ticket
given
very
a ticket.
Let me ask, Mr. Abbas, does the CA apply to Indian citizens?
All right. Thank you, Rahul, for these questions. Firstly, the question that you asked me about previously, dear friend, I was certainly not aware of it. But now, since you mentioned of Indian Muslim League in the question, you are heading a previous channel for which I was on a debate. I was one among them. Tehseen was there. I'm not sure about Anand Bhai. I was the one who unequivocally condemned the actions of Indian Muslim League. I think you've not
Brilliant.
known my stand about it.
I'm very happy. But that has nothing to do with the question I asked.
Thank you. Now the question
let
that you asked
let me ask you the question.
I will answer that. Now allow me to answer, Rahul. The question that you've asked me, allow me to answer. You'll be surprised, as a matter of fact, with my answer. The fact is, the Citizenship Amendment Act does not concern the Indians. It is about giving citizenship to Jains, Buddhists, Hindus, other persecuted minorities.
Fantastic.
Allow me to finish my...
Fantastic.
Allow me. Hear me. I'll tell you. I'll also tell you where
I'm not stopping you. I'm encouraging you.
Comes in. Thank you, Rahul. My bone of contention with my friends of the BJP, Amit Shah ji, is a very simple one. Why is religion a test of giving citizenship? Our constitution, a secular constitution, a bill being made on this front, that is where my reservation comes in. Also, Rahul, let me bring to your notice, I am absolutely and fully aware that this lies to a Pakistan, which, my dear friend Anand Ranganathan, I do not think a Pakistan is Pak at all. As a matter of fact, it's a rogue nation. It's a nation of terror. I condemn Pakistan on every front.
Any sensible Indian Muslim would do so.
India is Pak.
Any sensible Indian Muslim would do so. And you're not an exception to this rule.
Rahul, 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Rahul. Thank you. I truly believe मेरा हिंदुस्तान, मेरा धरती, मेरा भारत, मेरा इंडिया, इससे पाक कोई नहीं है. अल्लामा इकबाल ने भी कहा है, सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुले हैं इसके, ये गुलसिता हमारा. Now the simple point to my friend Tuhin Sinha is, why sir, do you have to make a law? Why, sir, does a religion become testimony to giving citizenship?
Yeah, let him answer.
Can you please answer me, Mr. Tuhin Sinha?
Please answer.
Well, good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. You know, the only people who have a problem with CAA in India are those who want to encourage the same persecution of Hindus as they are doing in Sandeshkhali in India itself. So those are the people who have a problem with CAA. Now, to answer Abbas's question, why is religion a basis? Because religion is the basis for persecution of Hindus primarily in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. Now, you know, when the percentage of Hindus has gone down from 20% to less than 2% in over a period of 7.5 decades, has that happened by organically? Certainly not. We have seen horrific and most brutal stories of how they have been killed, how their daughters have been picked up, raped. In fact, 2 years ago, we have seen horrific images of how Durga Puja pandals were vandalized in Bangladesh. Okay. So yes, if religion is the basis for persecution of these people in these three countries, that should be the reason why we should.
Brilliant. Okay. No, 1 second. No cross questioning. No counter. No nothing. Relax. I just want to bring in Deshratan Nigam because this is very important. Mr. Deshratan. Please. 1 second. 1 second. Please. Bear with me. I need to bring in Deshratan Nigam because this matter actually is sub judice, viewers. The CAA is being challenged in the Supreme Court. Hearings have been heard. So Deshratan Nigam, the problem is the one that Mr. Abbas is raising. He says because you exclude Muslims, it's illegal. Can you illuminate Mr. Abbas and our other...
I did not say illegal.
Okay, sir, please.
Hear me clearly. I raised the question.
अरे भाई साहब, आपकी बात नहीं हो रही सिर्फ in isolation. The people who have moved, the people.
I never spoke of exclusion.
Yes, please. The people who have moved the court have said it is illegal because it excludes a particular religion. It's not. It's ultra virus of the Constitution, which is a secular document, and everyone is equal under Indian law. This, that, the other. वही तो मैं पूछ रहा हूँ सर. आप तसल्ली तो रखिए थोड़ी. Yes, Deshratan Nigam. Will this classification, reasonable classification as it is called by the government, stand up to judicial scrutiny, sir?
Yes. In fact, let me tell you, if in a Muslim country, Muslims attack another Muslim, it is a law and order problem, not religious persecution, and has to be dealt by their own penal code, not by somebody else. So if the religious persecution is taking place of minorities in those respective countries and Government of India wants to give this citizenship to them, it's a reasonable classification. And reasonable classification as a principle and a guideline has been laid down by Supreme Court in many cases. India, being a sovereign nation, has a right, especially in view of the Nehru-Liaquat Pact, where it was undertaken, a sovereign undertaking and promise that we will take care of our respective minorities. Now, if one country does not do so, it becomes a bounden duty of a sovereign nation to give citizenship to the religiously persecuted minorities of those countries. And this is what is being done. If in Nepal, a Hindu is being attacked by another Hindu, it's a law and order problem. They have a penal code to deal with it. But here it's a specialized act with a very specialized objective. And that objective is to be seen while deciding whether reasonable classification has been done or not.
And
it cannot
actually mirrors, Mr. Nigam, it mirrors an American an American law, the Lautenberg-Specter amendments that were brought in to give those minorities in Iran and certain other Muslim countries refuge in non-Muslim minorities in these certain Muslim republics, especially Iran, a degree of refuge in America. So there is precedence in law. Let not all these people, viewers, confuse you about this. We are taking a short break. When we return, very big development, very big story. Viewers, don't go away.